Hi everybody! So this video is going to be a little bit different than the previous ones. Previously I've tried to give you the week of assignments in one video. This video is actually just for what's going to be due in this class on Monday, and there will be a separate video that I'll create for Wednesday's material. So this is just for Essay Building 1.2. This is a little complicated, so I wanted to make sure that I dedicated an ample amount of time to describe this assignment. So I have it pulled up here. I'm going to talk through the instructions, then I'm going to pull up a document and kind of walk through this process with you. So you can see, kind of what I'm asking you to do in terms of formatting, then also just like what this process looks like. So I'm going to read this to you really quick. So for your first essay building assignment for this class, I got you to gather evidence. So essentially what you did was you picked a trope, and that was what you decided you wanted to write about. And then you went and looked for evidence of that trope in it. So I think you picked 6 different pieces of evidence. I'm going to ask you to pare that down a little bit here, and I want you to go ahead and begin to imagine that each of those pieces of evidence are going to be what you use to build body paragraphs. So each quote or each little detail that you picked out individually will become body paragraphs. And I have a sort of process that I'm asking you to experiment with to see if I can help you make that happen organically. I know y'all have written papers before, likely in 1101 or in other contexts, and so you may know a lot about body paragraphs already, but for the purpose of this first essay, I want to show you a way that I teach and see if it helps you. So keep that in mind. This is just a way to think about body paragraphs. What we're doing now as we create a TDQA, which I'm asking you to ask really good questions about your detail, is we're not only gathering the evidence for our body paragraphs, but we're beginning to analyze that evidence. So, what's the difference between summary and analysis? I think we've talked about that in a few of the exercises we've done on discussion boards, but really remember, a detail is a piece of summary. It's what you saw. And your analysis is why that thing was included. Why did the director or the author of a text choose to include, that piece of evidence? What was their message? And that's what I said here. Why did the character do or say whatever occurred in the detail? How does the detail make you think about your trope? Why was it included? So all of those are really good questions that you can use to create these TDQAs, to ask this question, like, why did this happen? And then you're going to do your job to answer that. I say, aim for at least 5 sentences. Lots of different answers might appear. But you're really just interrogating all the meanings behind that detail as you can. So I'm about to, it says watch this instructional video, which you're doing right now. I'm about to show you what this should look like in a document and walk through a TDQA with you so you can see. So I'm opening up to a new document. So we'll go ahead and set it up in MLA format. And then, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like too. So you'll put your name here. You'll put my name after. The class is English 1102. And the due date for the assignment, I'll just write that due date because I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. And then in the center, we can go ahead and we'll call it Essay Building 2, or we're 1.2. Okay, so gosh. What you're going to do next is you're going to create 4 TDQAs. You can do just like this. That's 1, space down. That's the second one. I'm just going to do 1 right now. So for all the T's, it should be the same trope that you used for essay building 1.1. So I'm going to pretend, I think the example I've been using is duty, which, think about like responsibility. So I'm going to write that here. I'll actually put that for all 4. And I'm just doing 2 for the purposes of showing you what it looks like. Okay, so you'll do that 4 times. But then in the detail, you're going to go grab something from Essay Building 1.1. So all 4 details will be different, and you'll use them. You'll be recycling stuff that you got last time. So I can't really remember exactly my detail that I used as an example. I guess I could go get it, couldn't I? Let's do that. So if I was going to go back to the assignment, Essay Building 1.1. Okay, So I had some examples here. I'm going to use one of mine. So when Georgie is eaten by Pennywise, his neighbor sees blood in the street, but she does nothing about it. When Ben is bullied, a couple drives by and sees the boy assaulting him, but they don't pull over. And then at another time, Henry is shooting a gun. He's trying to shoot a cat, which I love cats, so that disturbs me. But his father shoots the ground next to him instead of calmly explaining why Henry shouldn't have a gun. There's a lot of other moments where adults act pretty bad in this movie. Gosh, Beverly's dad, he seems really abusive to her. He's an example of someone who doesn't fulfill his duty as a father. But you've also got people who do fulfill their duty, if you will. Like there's a duty to friendship. You know, there's constant moments where you see the characters trying to connect to one another and support one another. So overall, the film sends mixed messages, and it seems that, from my point of view, and I'm thinking a little bit ahead, it looks like the adults don't fulfill their duty, but the kids do. So the kids are the more responsible people in this movie. That could be a thesis, that there's an argument being made that with maturity comes selfishness in some way. So I'm already, like I said, really thinking ahead on this. I'm not asking you to have those kinds of formulated thoughts yet. Instead, I'm asking you to say, okay, you know, there's this trope is present, and I've found some moments where I think it is present. Now I'm eventually gonna come up with a major idea, like what is being said about my trope. For now, we're looking at the smaller pieces. So let's, you know, I like this one better. So I'm gonna steal that one for myself. Copy, and let's go back here, and that's going to be my first detail. I want to make sure it's the right font, because we're trying to make sure everything looks organized here. And so that's my detail. Well, now I'm at the point where I'm going to start questioning the detail and asking, why is it included? So I think what I'll probably say here is, why does the director include the adults ignoring the bullying? And then now I got to think about that. Gosh, why would that happen? I'm going to try to come up with several answers here. I think one reason could be some of the stuff I'm saying before. The film argues that the adults are selfish. They seem more concerned with their daily lives than the trauma the children are facing. You could say also another reason, I think, and I'll maybe even space down to show that I'm giving multiple reasons, but the adults are selfish, they're more concerned with their daily lives than the trauma the children are facing. Something else that could be said, I think, about this moment is the adults seem to have forgotten what it's like to be bullied. And they don't understand the fear, because they don't seem to be as afraid as the children. They don't even see Pennywise, right? So they don't have the same fear of what people can do to you and how they might hurt you. And since I know that I kind of didn't choose to talk about the lady who sees Georgie get eaten, I skipped that one, I might actually include that here. So I could say something like, this is not the only time adults are ignorant. An old lady seems to ignore Georgie being eaten by Pennywise. Suggesting that the adults are kind of villains, Pennywise is the ultimate villain here, but we are seeing something like they're not fulfilling their duty to protect the children. Maybe I should say that too. If you see me spell checking here, it's because I have Grammarly downloaded onto my computer, and I'm a horrible typist. I always make mistakes. But See, like right here, the adults are selfish. I've recommended to a couple of y'all that you get Grammarly, and I'll do it again before the semester's over, but Grammarly is free for UWG students, and it is super helpful, as you can see here, because I'm making mistakes. Also, I'm typing and talking at the same time, so that's part of the problem. But in any case, I had something else I was going to add. Oh, the adults do not fulfill their duty to protect the kids from themselves, from each other, or Pennywise. And this could be a really interesting opening body paragraph. I would imagine that another body paragraph that would appear after it talks about Beverly's dad in detail. Maybe there's one that follows that talks about Henry's dad in detail. Maybe there's one that follows that talks about how the kids are in contrast of this. They seem to really understand the duty they have to each other. I was just thinking about that scene where there's the big rock fight. I think you probably remember the kids are like throwing rocks at each other. And it's funny because that all happened because Henry Bowers was being mean to Mike. And the other kids are like, he's hurting Mike, we have to go save him. So they have a duty to each other to protect each other from bullies. Whereas the adults seem much more willing to just kind of look the other way and ignore the real bad things that are happening. So this could be a really interesting opening paragraph to sort of explain that scene that shows us, you know, more than once adults kind of look away. So what you'll do, and I just did one and I didn't do the best job, I just did it really quickly here, and you know, I have some ideas that I could capitalize on later. What you're going to do is do this 4 times, and you'll save and submit the document that looks exactly like this. So you'll have lots of brainstorming thoughts that will come together in our next essay building assignment to start thinking about what your thesis is going to look like. So I know this is a more complicated exercise that I'm asking you to do here. It's intentionally so because I want you to have a lot of material that you can use to build your essay. So this is not busy work. This isn't, you know, and neither are the discussion board posts, but this is almost a little more important than those because now you're really starting to think about, okay, what am I going to say in this paper? What scenes am I going to analyze? What else can I talk about? So I hope my example here helps. I'm going to save this video and upload it, open up this Dropbox. It's due Monday. This is the only thing that you have due Monday. My intention is to get the next one ready in the next day or two, so you'll have Wednesdays up and ready to go too. So we're getting close to, you know, putting the paper together. We have a couple more weeks before it's due, but I'm excited to read what you guys come up with. So please let me know if you have any questions. I have been enjoying reading your discussion posts and getting to know you all that way. So you all take care. Let me know if I can help you.